live. We're there for you. ABC4 News at 10 starts now.
Good evening, everybody, and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Rick Aaron. Glenn and Emily have the night off. Hundreds of stranded travelers spent this day after Christmas at Salt Lake City International Airport, unable to get back home after the holiday because of the ripple effect from the East Coast snowstorms. According to FlightAware, over 80 flights out of SLC were canceled today, over half of those on Southwest Airlines. ABC4's Ali O'Rulian spoke to some angry passengers, many of whom still don't know when they'll make it out.
It's been horrible.
This is not really the time that you want to be stuck, stranded in an airport, especially with no solution whatsoever.
Stranded in Salt Lake City. Hundreds of people waiting in line for answers from Southwest Airlines about canceled and delayed flights.
So far, it's been about an hour and 30 minutes.
Come wait in this line that I've been waiting in for about 2 to 2.5 hours.
Want to call customer service instead? Good luck.
Call customer service, their lines were down.
No matter if you're landing in Oakland, Denver, or Austin, these travelers are all in the same situation.
I'm sitting here stuck. Can't get home.
Many say their flights are being delayed for hours on end and then getting canceled. Others saying they didn't know their flight was canceled till they got to the airport. Some people made it here without their baggage. Some people's baggage made it to their destination without them. And multiple people I spoke to expected to be home by Christmas Eve and still don't know when they'll get home 3 days later.
Many people spent those 3 days on the floor in the airport.
One family saying instead of spending Christmas at home with their 16-month-old baby, they spent the holiday eating gas station food in a hotel room they say they're not getting compensated for.
They're refusing to pay for the hotel room, refusing to give us money vouchers or anything just because they're trying to blame the weather for all of this.
So they're putting travel in their own hands.
And we're going to try to get our money back here and drive to Houston, which is a 24-hour drive.
Others say they were compensated, if you can call it that.
Oh, they gave me a voucher for another flight that same day when there were no other flights available.
And while stuck in the same nightmare, travelers can agree on one thing.
Are you ever going to fly with Southwest again?
I doubt it.
We probably won't fly with them again.
I don't know how they're in business. I really don't. And I hope they aren't ever anymore.
Reporting at the Salt Lake City International Airport, I'm Ali O'Rulian, ABC4 News.
Southwest Airlines canceled 2,800 flights today, more than 70% of their entire schedule. They released a statement saying customers can receive refunds for their canceled flights, but the winter storm and staffing shortages are creating even more cancellations and delays. Well, now to Provo Canyon, where crews needed a helicopter to rescue an ice climber who plummeted 40 feet down frozen Bridal Veil Falls. That 607-foot waterfall is a popular spot for ice climbers when it freezes into a vertical wall of ice. Just after 11 o'clock today, a 29-year-old man lost his grip and plunged down the face of the falls, breaking his arm and leaving him suspended by his safety rope. More than 3 hours later, crews finally reached the man using the Department of Public Safety helicopter and airlifted him down to a waiting ambulance. According to the Utah County Sheriff's Department, he was taken to a hospital for treatment of that fractured arm and a back injury. In West Valley City, a jury found a man guilty on Thursday for killing a woman and injuring 2 other people back in 2019. 42-year-old Jason Chase was convicted of shooting inside a car and killing 34-year-old Angela Montoya. He also shot and injured the driver of the car and a 15-year-old boy who was inside. The jury deliberated for 2.5 hours before deciding that Chase is guilty of aggravated murder, attempted aggravated murder, obstructing justice, and possessing a weapon as a restricted person. Chase has not yet been sentenced. Well, there's developing news in the University of Idaho quadruple murder mystery. It's been more than 6 weeks now since 4 students were killed, and that killer is still on the loose. Now, a professor at the school is suing a TikTok user who claims that she was responsible. ABC's Mola Langi has more.
A University of Idaho professor is suing a so-called internet sleuth for defamation after the TikTok personality posted a series of videos accusing, without any credible evidence, that the professor was somehow tied to the November murders of 4 college students. According to the lawsuit, TikToker Ashley Gillard posted 6 videos claiming Professor Rebecca Schofield was responsible for the 4 students' deaths. The suit says the videos have been viewed millions of times, stating that Gillard falsely claimed Schofield ordered the execution of the 4 students. Gillard is not backing down and says she looks forward to any upcoming trial. This, the most high-profile example of online speculation that has been denounced by authorities who have urged the public to avoid sharing misinformation or rumors about the case.
What we want to say is we are the official source of information, and anything that comes from other sources is either rumor or speculation.
The Moscow police still have not named any suspects and have not recovered the murder weapon used in the stabbing deaths of the 4 students during the early morning hours of November 13th. According to the lawsuit, Schofield, who chairs the history department at the University of Idaho, had never met any of the 4 murdered students, nor had any of the 4 been in her classes. Despite receiving cease and desist letters from Schofield's legal team, the Texas TikToker has continued posting videos. Schofield's attorney tells ABC News the statements made about Professor Schofield are false, plain and simple. This lawsuit became necessary to protect Professor Schofield's safety and her reputation. The University of Idaho also weighing in, blasting Gillard's videos, saying, "While this lawsuit is a private matter, U of I does not condone spreading false information and finds this particular allegation to be one of the worst we have seen." Well, no arrests have been made, no suspects identified since this investigation began. The university is currently on their winter break, and authorities stress that the investigation will continue while school is out. They say they have received about 12,000 tips since this investigation began. Mola Lengi, ABC News, Denver.
All right, back here in Utah, we've had haze for days in the Salt Lake Valley, but all that is about to change. Meteorologist Thomas Givoy joins us with what's headed our way. Thomas?
Yep, Rick, we got much more active weather that's going to be on the way, and it's not only going to be just one system. We actually have a couple of systems lined up that's going to more or less take us through the New Year's Day weekend. We'll get to all that information in just a bit, but for the time being, things are still relatively calm. Still have the haze with some cool temperatures out there. It doesn't feel too cold outside. It's 35 in Salt Lake after we got into the mid and upper 40s this afternoon. Didn't feel too bad, just didn't look too nice with that haze around. Meanwhile, it's 43 in Cedar City, 44 degrees in St. George, 28 degrees in Moab, and Vernal is a cold spot on this map, sitting at 13 degrees where we have a strong inversion in the Uinta Basin. Meanwhile, Utah State University overlooking Old Main. You don't have to look too far in the distance to notice that haze is still there, but it's going to be going away here relatively soon. Sticks around through tonight as we see an overnight low dropping to 34 in Salt Lake, so we won't see our temperatures cool too much more compared to what we're seeing out there right now. 36 degrees in Cedar City, 39 degrees in St. George. As you begin your Tuesday morning, you're definitely going to want that extra layer, but as the day goes on, you're going to want to pack some rain gear because the chance for wet weather is going to be increasing as we have a couple of systems again lined up. The first one arrives tomorrow, tapping into an atmospheric river. Those temperatures will be similar compared to what we saw today. So if you're going to take your dog for a walk, maybe still festive, Kringle, the best time along the Wasatch Front is definitely going to be during the first half of the day. But in our mountains, we have winter weather advisories that will be going into effect as over the next day or so we'll be looking at heavy mountain snow, 12 to 18 inches of snow a possibility with higher amounts can't be ruled out through Thursday morning. So we got that active weather on the way, and we're going to break down all the details and what it means for you coming up in your forecast in just a few minutes. Rick?
Thank you, Thomas. A St. George family is putting a new twist on Christmas. The parents say the holiday should be more about the experience and less about the things, so they want to make sure their kids get that message. ABC4's Jordan Burrows joins us live from Salt Lake City to tell us about this decade-long tradition. Jordan?
Yeah, Rick, it's an interesting idea. Just hear me out here. This is the Comstock family from down in St. George. It's Brandon and Carlene Comstock and their 5 kids. Well, the parents have challenged their 5 kids to try to get to the Christmas presents under the Christmas tree without them hearing it. However, Brandon, the dad, has set up these Christmas traps to make sure that the kids have a challenge as they're getting to their Christmas presents. Mind you, obviously very loud to get to these presents. He also watches the whole thing shake down on surveillance video with his wife, Carlene. Just go ahead and take a look for yourself. This isn't your typical Christmas tradition. It's like if Mission Impossible met the quiet game.
So when we got married, it was one of those things I was like, it was just my favorite. So he took it to a whole new level and did a lot more of, booby traps that were a little bit more intense than when I was growing up. But we put our spin on it, and we've been doing it now for 15.
We've been married for this is the 10th year that we've been doing it now.
Carlene and Brandon Comstock say they got the idea from Carlene's family, who's been doing it even longer. They love that the kids work together as a team. For example, the older boys are helping the girls get through a hole in the wall. The goal is for the Comstock 5 kids to get through the maze, which includes a laser maze, noisemakers, and hidden codes that can only be seen with a black light without waking up their parents. The prize is to get to their Christmas presents. If they're caught, they're supposed to go back to their rooms, but at the end of the day, Brandon and Carlene say they love watching the surveillance video and get a kick out of the kids trying to pass the maze.
So, like in this year's video, especially seeing the boys and the older kids step up and help the younger kids is a big parenting win for us.
Colton, the designated leader of the kids, says he looks forward to it every single year.
First thing to think about, what's going to be behind the door? Is there going to be a wall? Is there going to be something attached to a string? And you have to anticipate what's going to happen.
Brandon adds he starts planning this in July and spends countless hours and hundreds of dollars every year. The kids say it takes them anywhere from 20 to 45 minutes to finish it.
The thing is, he gives away like no hints. So the entire time you're like, what's going to happen? Because you have no clue at all.
Brandon Comstock, pretty much the mastermind behind the creativity of these Christmas traps, has put the last few of these mazes up on his YouTube page. We'll also have those on our website, abc4.com. Brandon and Carlene both say this is pretty much the best 30 minutes of their year. They love seeing their family work together. Reporting live in downtown Salt Lake City, Jordan Burrows, ABC4 News.
It's like Christmas impossible. Well, coming up, ABC4's Craig Worth takes us back in time to a New Year's Eve party held live in our studio over 70 years ago.
And here's an absolutely beautiful view from earlier today over Little Dell Reservoir, sent in by Scott Taylor. You can actually see the inversion haze trying to stretch up Parley's Canyon, but by tomorrow the haze goes away and wet weather moves in. We'll break down the details in Utah's most accurate forecast shortly after the break. Stay with us.